we have been thinking of entering the US market for quite a long time, and there was some uncertainty related to the regulatory environment, some cases that was not motivating us to enter the US market. And nowadays we are witnessing quite radical sort of a progress in this field.
All right, thank you, sir, for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation.
To start with, can you please tell me your name and what you do?
I'm Vakhtang Abrahamyan. I'm the CEO of the Fastex holding, which is a virtual asset service provider first in Europe, in United Arab Emirates. Recently we entered the US market as well, and also representing Fastex as a whole ecosystem from the blockchain, native token, coin actually, and NFT marketplace, payment system. So all wide variety of the ecosystem attributes that Web3 consists of.
Very good. We'll get to Fastex in a little bit, but to start with, could you tell me a little bit about your history? What were you doing before this? What was the path that led you to starting or to be
on the personal level?
Yeah.
Well, before joining the Fastex 3 years ago, I was in regulatory side in central banking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for 25 plus years.
Wow.
So the shareholders had a vision, and then approached me on why don't we join together to move forward with this vision of setting up the ecosystem of blockchain tokens and all the stuff. So I accepted, and then we started through the issuance of the token first on Ethereum blockchain. Then we understood that the fully complete ecosystem needs to be developed from our side as well. So the blockchain has been developed, the Bahamut blockchain. Then we set up the foundation in Switzerland to promote the grants and other programs for startups and the developers. And then the licensing process started in different jurisdictions, and that expanded. And today we have quite complicated and wide range of the services that were provided, started from real-world asset tokenization, finishing with the token issuance and listing and all the stuff.
Wow. Yeah. So, as in your previous life as a regulator, do you remember the first time you had to deal with crypto?
Oh yeah, it was very negative statement we had related to the crypto, but it was back to 2014, 15.
Oh, wow. It's pretty early.
16 even, yeah. And we just issued a statement saying the banks that you need to stay away from, dealing with the crypto unless we start the regulation. Unfortunately, the regulation was postponed every time due to the higher risks, lack of knowledge also from the regulatory perspective. And thanks God now we do see many jurisdictions that has quite complicated and complete, though developing, but complete set of the regulations that allow businesses to see strategically and enter into the market. That's why in United Arab Emirates, for example, we have decided to set up the holding company and entered as a licensed institution. In Europe, after accepting the MiCA regulation, we do see the opportunity to start, though we do understand that some transition period maybe would be the best for the business to, learn from business side, from regulatory side, and then move with that through more complicated systems.
How would you compare the UAE's framework to the EU's MiCA framework?
There are a lot of similarities, and in general, the concepts are the same. While we talk with the regulators, we do see this approach that same risk, same regulation. So regard whatever in financial sector, for example, in securities market or traditional finance side, we see some reflection of those regulations in the virtual asset side. So for the new entrants or for the smaller companies, it might be challenging a lot. But for the bigger one and the scalable businesses, it's something which is doable, I think. Though I don't know whether the competition wise, it's the best, to regulate only these big companies without giving some space for the local or smaller entities. But I'm sure that the regulation is also evolving, and over the time we will be witnessing different types of sort of a regulation in the field.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of crypto companies don't have so much experience dealing with regulators or how to structure parts of their business to handle regulation. So it makes sense to me that someone with your experience would be a hot commodity for crypto companies.
There isn't a single solution for dealing with the regulators. Every regulator is different. But in general, the concept and strategy should be cooperation, I think.
Cooperation. Yeah.
Because, they have something to learn from us. We do have something to learn from them. So it's a joint road we need to go together. At the end of the day, we have, on their side, it's customer protection, consumer protection rights. Right. On our side, it's customer needs that needs to be satisfied. So at the end of the day, we have the common sort of a target to complete.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Very interesting. Right. So let's move on. So you are the CEO of Fastex. Please tell my audience, what is Fastex? What are you doing? Why should our audience care about it?
Without advertising the Fastex.
Oh, please. Yeah.
No, it's a joking. The Fastex, as I told from the beginning, it's a complete ecosystem. It's not only the exchange platform where the users could enter, and have the majority of the services available from their digital assets, sort of a trading, finishing with the card issuance like Visa, MasterCard issuance, and spending their, doing their daily purchases or expenditures through this channel as well. It's also, as I said, the blockchain. It's also the self-custodian wallet. It's also the real-world asset tokenization platform. It's also a cooperation platform and the open sort of a business that is open for, joint projects that we see from the other businesses as well. So the user base is something which is, common in terms of, onboarding the customers, providing some services, there's cards and other stuff. But in a wider perspective, if you have some ideas on, NFTs, marketplace. By the way, we have the digital space in Dubai Mall, which is sort of a combination of digital space and physical presence of NFT marketplace. We cooperate with the artists, for example, create some art with the physical also items in place. As I said, real-world asset tokenization with the businesses, the startups or existing businesses, some new interesting ideas in the place. The Tsuk Foundation of the blockchain provides grants for the startups and those who are interested in developing some products on our blockchain. So it's a wide range of activities that we can support and jointly go to mutually beneficial cooperation, I say.
Cool. So about the RWA tokenization, are you tokenizing mostly sovereign bonds like USTs or what?
No, it's mostly tokenizing the businesses in terms of, for example, the alcohol import company, for example.
Okay.
It's importing the rare wineries or whatever.
Okay,
so you tokenize these lots, somebody as a collectioner or the regular user could buy this with quite discounted price, with the right to use it or claim it after 6 months, for example. And once the 6 months is completed, either you could request your item to be delivered globally wherever you want, or leave it there as a pledge sort of a item and structure some financial instrument based on that. So there are a number of interesting, and bonds are also the initial coin offerings or replacing the regular bond issuance with the tokenized items is also very interesting direction, though the regulatory challenges are there. So we need to comply with the securities law. In some places, in some regulations, you have nothing, very empty spaces. So some risks needs to be taken also.
Right. And so Fastex also has a blockchain. Why do you have a blockchain?
We have quite a professional and sophisticated team of engineers. And once we started getting into this Web3 environment, on the one hand, it was a professional challenge to see whether we could do that. A layer 1 blockchain, then layer 2, then token issuance, then coin issuance. And those become a part of the business as well in terms of providing those services to other businesses, those who wants to issue their own token.
Right.
So we understood that this should be a mandatory part of the complete ecosystem to be considered as a serious partner, I guess.
Yeah.
And show the knowledge.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. All right. So in the past 12 months, I work in news, obviously. In the past 12 months, there's been quite a number of headline exchange breaches, right? Yeah. From Bybit to Coinbase a couple of weeks ago, BitGet, kind of like a hack. Has this made you take a harder look at security? And
even without that, we do pay a huge attention, as I guess every company that has a strategic and long-term sort of agenda on to be present, because the cybersecurity is the most challenging part in this business, in every business that has dealt with the technology. Thanks to regulation, on the one hand, we have quite strict mandatory requirements of complying with and obtaining number of licenses and certifications in the field. But nevertheless, the presence of the professional staff and awareness of our customers and users is also a very important direction towards creating the community that is aware of the risks associated with that, because usually the majority of the breaches happens also because of the lack of knowledge from the opposite side.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a complex activities. Hopefully, we could manage to move forward with that, and partnering with the global players, starting from the cold wallet providers, finishing with the audit companies that are auditing and vulnerability testing our environment. So yeah, it's quite costly process, but you need to sleep well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, because you get that 2 a.m. call, you're like, oh no, before you pick it up. Yeah.
Yes, it's challenging.
Absolutely. You started, am I correct in saying you started in the UAE?
The company's first establishment was in European Union, actually, in Lithuania. Then we moved to UAE.
Right. Okay. How was that transition from starting in Europe to the UAE, and then now you've expanded to the US, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that how were those transitions? Very difficult to move?
No, I think it's an organic. Once you accumulate the knowledge within the company, then the expansion is something which is mostly on the quantitative side rather than the qualitative side.
Okay.
So from this perspective, there are certain challenges based on the regulations and based on the again, the regulators, interaction, etc. But it's quite dynamic process, which I don't see that every second or the next jurisdiction is as much harder as the previous one. Usually you are experienced to move forward.
Do you find that the user base is different? Do they have
Oh,
different?
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, please, could you please tell how
well-
are the demands different? What are their
Yeah.
expectations? Or
Well, the user base is the users are they are not new users. Definitely, they have also their experience. There are certain players in the U.S. market. There are certain experiences, certain expectation from the user side. So you need to be creative, starting from the marketing campaigns, finishing with the products you are offering, including some limitations. That recently we all witnessed the USDT sort of a limitation in European market.
yeah, that was wild.
All those things are, when you expect this, it's something different. When you are not prepared in terms of, it comes suddenly at the end of the day. No, you have some time to prepare, but to restructure your financial model, even to restructure your marketing campaigns in the field, all those are, you need to take the local context very seriously.
Have you found one area to be kind of more challenging than another? Like, for example, Europe versus the Middle East versus America?
At the end of the day, people are the same.
Okay.
So no radical changes in the field.
Yeah.
They all want to earn money. They all want to be successful. So
Yeah.
and get the quality service.
I see. Yeah. So we're here. One last follow-up question, but we're here at the Bitcoin conference 2025 Las Vegas. You guys have a booth. How are you finding the conference?
It's very interesting. We saw a number of partners with whom we are working for a long time. It's a good opportunity to establish new connections, and especially when we are in the US market, setting up and becoming aware of what's going on in this market from the first hand, I would say, is very important. Hopefully we could find new partners and set up a new mutually beneficial cooperations in the field.
Yeah. It also makes sense to me, having talked with you, that so America has recently become a lot more cooperative with crypto and Bitcoin and crypto. From the regulatory standpoint, it really seems that there's clarity coming. So I imagine as a person who runs a company, that must be like music to your ears.
Absolutely, because we have been thinking of entering the US market for quite a long time from the very beginning. And there was some, pros and cons, especially uncertainty related to the regulatory environment. Some cases actually that was not motivating us to enter the US market, I would say.
Yeah.
And nowadays we are witnessing quite radical sort of a progress in this field.
Yeah.
And we do expect more. That's why we decided, alongside with the shareholders, to enter the market, take that risk, even with this uncertainty that still exists. And we are very, very hopeful that the promising future is coming very soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure was mine.
And we're done.